Worry about my baby not rolling? I get this question all the time, and I get DMs all the time asking me about various developmental milestones. And this is one of the ones that I have gotten recently. So I thought that I should talk about it since I actually haven't done a video on rolling, surprisingly. I have done videos on sitting and I have also done videos on crawling, but none on rolling. So I want to dive in and chat a little bit about the importance of rolling. So, rolling, let's talk a little bit about what is rolling. So, I'm going to put my computer here on the floor because I'm going to be demonstrating with my baby as well. But rolling is really one of the first sort of transitional movements that babies learn to do. And the thing with rolling is that babies are getting some developmental motor patterns going. So, this is the homologous movement here. And this helps them to get their weight over. So, rolling from back to tummy and also from tummy to back is super important. And what that does, rolling is going to help all of these muscles lengthen and strengthen, but it's also going to really help that rib cage get some mobility in, which we're going to need for rotational movements. And we need rotational movements for weight shifting, for walking, for crawling, for all sorts of different skills in our lives. And so we really want to be making sure that we are getting that rib cage moving. Okay. The other thing with rolling is that it is really going to also help babies start to learn how to use their body to move and how to use the different sides of their body to move. So you can see that, babies are going to start rolling and they're going to get their feet up. Usually it happens from the feet or from the hips. Sometimes you'll see babies like arching back somehow to try to get over. And so those are all different ways that they are starting to learn how to use the two sides of their body together, which is super important. What else did I want to say about rolling and the importance of rolling? Oh, rolling also is helping the formation of the spinal curves. And I've talked about spinal curves before and how babies are born with a C-shaped spine and they gradually start to develop the different curves in the neck and also in the low back to make more of the S-shaped spine structure that we have as adults. And why we need that S-shaped spine structure is that is the structure that is actually going to help us to take downward force and downward pressure against gravity so that we can maintain an upright position. So babies need to start doing various activities, various movements to help those spinal curves to start to develop out of that C-shaped curve into more of that S-shaped curve so that they can eventually get their bodies up into an upright position and be able to adequately manage that downward pressure against gravity. And so this is why we really want to be careful not to put our babies into sitting too early until they have developed those spinal curves, right? And so the rolling is going to start to develop some of that lumbar curve or that curve in the lower back. Tummy time, of course, is what helps to develop the curve in the neck. Okay, so looking side to side, developing all of those muscles in the neck. And then rolling is one of the first ones that's going to start to develop the muscles, the musculature, as well as those curves in the lower back. And that is further then developed through crawling. Okay. So the typical age range for rolling is 4 to 6 months. And I want you to just be aware of that because there's nothing to worry about if your 6-month-old is not quite rolling yet. As long as we're seeing maybe even rolling to the side or we're seeing some of these different movements that your baby might be doing to try to get over. My two babies who are not babies anymore, they didn't really start rolling actually until closer to 7 months. And I was practicing rolling with them a lot. And so this is where I really want you to use your mama instincts and watch your baby. If you're seeing progress from week to week, there's generally nothing to worry about. But again, trust that instinct. So if you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, then definitely reach out and ask me. But neither of my babies rolled until 7 months. I attribute that to the fact that they were pretty big babies. They are very dense babies also, so they're very skinny, but they are very muscular. And so it takes a lot of effort to get that head up and also over. And so rolling tummy to back, back to tummy, it doesn't really matter which way babies roll first. Oftentimes, the other thing that I get questions about is once baby is rolling, is it okay for them to sleep on their tummies? And the answer to that is yes. If they are rolling themselves over, then yes, you can leave them in that position. They are strong enough to move their head if they cannot breathe, okay? Again, you want to make sure that if you are allowing that in your sleep space, there's no cords, there's nothing they can get stuck in, and all of the other safe sleep guidelines. But for today, for rolling, I want to show you a few different ways to encourage rolling, because here's the thing. We can definitely take our babies through rolling, and this is actually how they start to learn the movement, is that they really start to learn the movement through experiencing the motor pattern, okay? And so one of the great ways to start learning how to roll is to take your baby through rolling. So for example, what I love to tell parents is when you put your baby on the floor, you're putting your baby down on their back and you're going to roll them into tummy time, because we all know how important tummy time is. And so you're going to roll them over into tummy time, and they're here in tummy time and they're looking around, or maybe they're just like resting their head, or they're chewing on their hand or something like that. And now they're fuss, 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 fuss. We're actually going to roll them out of tummy time, pick them up, hold them, and calm them. So by doing that multiple times throughout the day, they are learning and getting the experience of what it feels like to roll, okay? So instead of fuss, 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 oh, I'm just going to pick you up, I'm going to hold you, and now I'm going to put you back down on your back, they don't actually know how they got into that different position. So I encourage you and I invite you to start rolling your baby in and out of different positions on the ground, okay? You can also practice rolling when you're just playing with them. If you know, they start getting a little bit tired of playing on their back and they're fussing and you're like, oh gosh, I've been playing with this toy, what do you want to do now? Let's just roll you over. You could roll them over and just play this way. I also invite you to think about, does your baby have a side preference when they roll? Is it easier for them to roll to one side than the other, or do they just try to practice for one side to the other? If there is a side preference, that's usually an indication that they've got some tightness somewhere on their body and they are not going to the other side necessarily. So I encourage you to start looking at that, but also helping them to roll to that non-preferred side, because we really want things to be as equal as possible. Okay, so let's get into how you can support your baby to roll in other ways. So one of the first ways that I teach in my Babies at Play class is that we're actually going to use a little blanket, muslin blanket. I'm using a towel right now, and we're just going to take baby slowly through the movement. So they're going to side lie a little. We're going to take them onto their back, over to the other side, side lying a little, take them through their back over to the other side. You can do silly faces, give them kisses, and then you're just going to kind of roll them over. And I just have my hand there to really help support them. So this is especially great for little babies who just need a little bit of extra support underneath their bodies. So it's kind of like we're making a little hammock to help them roll. You can sing fun songs. These are different things that we do inside of my Babies at Play classes as well. The other way that you can help your baby roll is actually just under their arms. So under their arms, you're just going to roll them again. I want you to roll them side to side. Help them experience what it feels like to roll onto their side, what it feels like to roll all the way over, okay? And if they're fussing in tummy time here, then you're just going to, under the arm again, you're going to roll them over, okay? And the faster you roll, the more sort of momentum there's going to be, and so baby is going to have to do less work. The slower you do the movement and the transition between the movement, the more your baby is going to have to work their muscles, which is essentially what we want, because we want them to get stronger, and you have to work your muscles in order to get stronger. And so I invite you that as your baby starts to get stronger and stronger, you're going to do less of the work. You're also going to slow everything down and help them to finish. The last way I want to show you guys is you can do rolling with the hips. So this is one way you can get your hands and their feet together, and you're going to roll them side to side this way. But you can also just kind of like push their hips. I don't know if you can see that. So you're going to just take one hip and you're just going to kind of like give it a little bit of a jiggle. And you're just going to keep kind of giving it a jiggle until they kind of take over and roll themselves over this way. You can give them a little jiggle this way as well. And then the last way is you can do like a knee to the belly and across the body. The reason I'm holding this leg down is sometimes when you do knee to the belly, both legs come up. So it'll be easier if you do knee to the belly and then across the body. That's also going to activate all of their core muscles so that they have to start using that and they can get strong. So I want to keep this video nice and short, but I wanted to talk to you guys about rolling and also when you should be concerned if your baby is not rolling. So if your baby isn't rolling by about 7.5 months, and they're not showing any progress at all towards rolling, then definitely you can reach out to me. You can reach out to an occupational therapist or a physical therapist in your area that works with babies, and they can help you get that going and also figure out why your baby might not be rolling. There's lots of different reasons, but really practice. This is why I love floor time, why I really encourage all babies to really be on the floor as much as possible. So get them out of those baby containers, get them on the floor, get them moving, get them exploring, get them really getting a freedom of movement. And that is how they are going to learn all their motor milestones, is by practice, play, experiencing, and just going through the movements. If you have any more questions about development, feel free to reach out to me. I also have my Holistic Baby Development course that takes you through all the different developmental milestones within the first 2 years. And then that includes 12 of my virtual babies at play classes. And we also talk about body tightness and how to resolve body tightness, how to figure out if your baby has body tightness. And I'm constantly updating that course as well, because there's just lots that you can know. So the link is along with this video. But I hope you all have a really wonderful day and that this was helpful. And I would love to know how you are starting to encourage your baby with rolling, or if your baby is already rolling, what age did they start to roll? Okay, that's it for me. Bye, everyone.